Morning, partner.
Partner?
Well, what else do you call someone working in the same cross-functional team?
Sales manager, communications will do.
Rebecca, that is not exactly in the spirit of teamwork and close harmony that we're trying to foster here at Caring Sharing Redway.
Well, at least it's not Rebecca from the job centre.
You mean all is not sweetness and light in Mike's band of merry helpers up here in Salesland?
3 fired this week.
Nasty. I heard it was a bit of a bloodbath last night.
Mike sure knows how to respect people's feelings.
Hey, listen. I heard Charles is for the job.
Charles? I heard it was Jenny. I mean, she's lost accounts. And she's a woman.
Well, what's that got to do with it?
When the chips are down, men will stick together. She was the last one to join the management team. She'll be the first one out.
Well, maybe. At least my boss is safe. No one would dare remove Lee. He's the only one who knows how our products work. Here. Maybe it'll be your boss, Mike, who gets a big E.
Fat chance.
Oh, just as well. If Mike were fired and you became sales director, you'd be caught in the horns of a terrible dilemma.
What dilemma?
Oh, letting me, technically your junior in the new office hierarchy, pay for dinner on Saturday night.
In your dreams.
Well, all right. Have it your own way. We'll go Dutch.
So we make an announcement about a company-wide meeting for the end of the week, say Friday at 4 p.m. Before then, we each inform our respective staff, the ones we're making redundant. Carter and Blaine, the outplacement consultants, will be on site from Wednesday. They can assist us with how to handle people and the legal obligations. Any questions?
Who's going to sort out P45s and final payments if you're firing the account staff?
I've already made arrangements for all payroll and redundancies to be handled by Softex's finance department.
I have a question.
Mike.
When exactly was it decided that you were running the company?
Running the company?
Hiring outplacement consultants? Firing the accounts department? Sounds like megalomania in my book.
We agreed at the last meeting with John that you and I would work on the announcement to staff. Well, we can hardly make an announcement if we haven't already looked after the people who are going to leave.
3 steps forward, everyone who thinks they've got a job. Not so fast, accounts.
Lee, this is serious. John recommended the consultants and he advised me on the best management practice in these situations.
I see. Been talking to him behind our backs. So you're John's hatchet woman now, are you?
I can't believe you said that, Mike. Look, we all agreed on the need for these cuts. The decision of where cuts are made in sales are entirely up to you. Just as Charles and Lee have made their own lists. All I'm doing is facilitating. Look, I don't like firing staff any more than the rest of you, but there are economic realities that we cannot ignore.
I'd underestimated John. Pretty smart of him to talk you into doing all his dirty work. Where is he, by the way, now that all the unpopular decisions have to be made?
The question is, what kind of team do we want to work with in the future?
Well, it's early days, but I'm looking for a team that's going to gel properly. A team that's capable of integrating the different functions. At the moment, they hardly function as a team at all.
Mike seems to be a good guy, plenty of experience, could be leadership material.
He's a leader, okay. He's extrovert, enthusiastic. He's very sure of his point of view. But I wonder about his judgment, you see. I think he relies too much on past experience. He's not curious enough to try out new ideas. Also, he's not very good at listening to other people's opinions.
He's very keen to be their new leader.
Has he spoken to you?
We share the same golf club. It was just a chat at the 19th hole.
Jenny. Yeah, she's a good finisher. She's very painstaking. She's orderly. She's conscientious.
Ah, yes, Jenny. But does she have the confidence to drive her ideas through?
Well, she's getting there, but, you see, she takes it all on herself. She's still not delegating enough. You know, she spends hours trying to solve everyone else's problems. Of course, they all dump on her.
Then there's Lee. Well, he's very young.
Yeah, he's a fast learner. He started to delegate more. I think he's beginning to see the benefits coming through, but typical software guy, interpersonal skills very poor.
I started life as a software guy, John.
Sure, you'd still be writing code today if you hadn't learned to work as part of a team. Used to be a pain until you realized you couldn't do it all your own.
I was the pain. Do you remember the Mexico project, John?
Well, I think we learn best from our mistakes.
John, that was some expensive lesson.
Lee, yeah, he's a good evaluator. He's calm, self-confident, controlled. Judges people on their merits. Has a firm grasp of objectives. Yeah. His problem is he still doesn't know the difference between delegation and teamwork. In the restructuring, I bet he keeps very good people. But they'll all be like him, specialize in the same area. I mean, some of them are university colleagues.
Promoting in his own image, you mean?
Right, they're clones, young, male, cynical, very independent, right? He's building a little clique, which could harm us in the long run. Lee's department is central to our future success.
He could be some trouble. What about Charles?
Charles was extremely loyal, team worker, able to respond to people, promote team spirit, but you see, he's not so hot on implementation. But in the old days, I guess he just took orders from FE. But now that FE's gone, he's not very good at implementing his own opinions.
I'm not sure about this Lee guy. He's already put the backs up of some of the people here in Softex, and he doesn't sound much like a team player. Also, Charles, he's a senior manager, and he's plenty of experience, and he'd be the harder to replace. Those software guys, I mean, you throw a stick out of the window and you'd hit a dozen. Okay, John. It's your team. But if you're going to make any changes at the top, may it happen before the staff redundancies? Before they go through? Because that means today.
Sure.
I think we should bring in all the losers and tell them in one go. That way they can clear their desks and be out within the hour. What we really need is a security firm. Make sure they don't nick company property.
Mike, you're not some mill boss from the last century.
Relax, Jenny. Mike's only pulling your leg. Aren't you, Mike?
The way I see it, we should be concentrating on the future, on the teams we're going to be left with. I watched one of those 20 Steps case studies last night.
You watched a case study? Good.
I'm not incapable of learning, Anyway, it was quite interesting.
Construction is particularly dependent on teamwork, but the teams rarely know each other before they join a project. Jim Donaldson works for the Miller Group, the largest independent construction firm in Scotland.
The team's main job tonight is to erect the footbridge at Wallingford, which we have constructed in a lay-by, set up a 500-ton crane and lift it into its final position, all in a 12-hour night shift.
The team have planned the lift for several weeks. The busy A1 can only be closed from 7 in the evening until 7 the next morning. They must get the bridge up tonight. Jim Donaldson didn't pick his team, but after working together for 14 months, he knows their strengths and weaknesses. Together they bring a good mix of drive, common sense and aggression to the team.
Well, if you've got them working as a team, you're more likely to get the results, whereas a group of individuals might be all firing in different directions. If you get them gathered as a team, then you've got a common goal and you all know what you're about. You'll go ahead and get the task done.
The bridge is now complete.
So it went very well tonight and the team have performed excellently.
So it's all about getting the right kind of team around you. After I watched it, I sat down and wrote out the kind of team that I wanted for the future.
So, Mike, what about your list? Where are you making cuts?
Unlike you lot, at least I've had the balls to do the job quickly. Last night I fired Matt, Georgina and Jeff. It was easy. Short, sharp, painless.
Mike, you could have told us before you did it. No wonder there are so many long faces around the building.
Well done, Mike. Now every member of staff will be expecting the same treatment.
It's no use pussyfooting around. It's like a boil. You've got to lance it. Anyway, it's not all bad news. I did my bit for company morale by promoting another member of staff at the same time.
Oh, and who was that?
Brenda?
And have you explained to Rebecca what that means for her position?
Like you said, these issues are my decisions. Hard though they are to take.
Anyone can see that Brenda is completely out of her depth when compared to Rebecca.
She's got nice legs, though.
Mike, you cannot use these redundancies as an excuse to surround yourself with people who won't challenge you.
At least I've made my decisions, unlike certain other members of management.
I've been working with Jenny on looking at the production side. I've known some of these people for years. Some of them go back to the early days. A lot of them are my friends.
This is no time for friendship. There's too much duplication in production. You could lose a whole shift and not notice the difference.
Lee, I am running production. I do not offer you my opinion on how you should be running your team of ponytail prima donnas. Jenny is helping me look at staffing levels. I'm hoping maybe some will take voluntary redundancy.
Look, Charles, if you want some real help, I'll fire them for you.
So, have you had a chance to think over my offer?
Your offer?
Yeah, dinner, Saturday night. I thought, Ty, there's this new place just opened off the high street, very popular. And then there's this club.
Not so fast. You assume too much. I might not be free.
Well, just assuming that you are.
But I'm not.
Shame. I've made the reservation. Tables are very hard to come by.
Oh, don't waste it. I'm sure someone else will be free to take up your generous offer.
Well, I could ask Brenda.
Brenda?
Well, it could be a celebration to mark her new promotion.
There you are, problem solved. What promotion?
Ah, I assumed you'd know.
Your assumptions are becoming annoying, Bob. What promotion?
Did you really not know? Oh, God. Me and my big mouth. Look, I'm sure it's just a rumour.
Brenda works for me. I should know if I promoted her, unless... Mike. I'll kill him.
Look, I'm sorry to have broken the news. I hope you don't think it was deliberate.
I'll murder him. But first, I want to talk to her.
I suppose Friday night's out of the question.
John. Charles, convenient moment?
Yes, of course. Come in, take a seat.
I wanted to have a word about the redundancies.
Look, John, we're both grown men. Let's not go through a charade that both of us will find embarrassing. You're here to talk about me, not my staff.
Okay, let's talk about you.
You know, what I can't work out is where I went wrong. Where did I take the wrong turning all those years ago?
How do you mean?
Well, look at us. We're both about the same age, give or take a year or two. You've kept slightly more of your hair. But I guess we're the same generation, both with degrees, plenty of business experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yet here you are with six-figure salary, share options, another 10, maybe 15 years of business achievement still to come. And yet, look at me. Scared stiff this will be my last job, apart from shelf stacking the local supermarket or serving on the parish council.
I think you're unduly pessimistic.
Don't pretend. I know you're doing it out of kindness, but I know I'm on the way down. If you don't fire me, somebody else will once you've moved on. I'm not bitter. I might even get to like shelf stacking. I've seen it happen to people better qualified than me.
Well,
what I want to know, what I really don't understand is how you managed to avoid the rubbish dump of executive management. How did you know which was the right turning?
who knows? Luck, probably.
No, it wasn't. And you know it.
Well, I guess it was a change of styles, management styles. Now, back in the 70s, I was in the States, Silicon Valley, when it was starting out. And I was in Japan 5 years with Sony. I guess I could see what was coming. The information revolution. I could see that the change would be not in bits and bytes, but what people could do with the new tools. And my background in psychology helped me, I guess, to understand the way that people and teams work.
Psychology. Back in the 70s, I was fighting the bloody unions at British Leyland. Wildcat strikes, walkouts, there wasn't time for any psychology. The irony was, we thought we'd won.
Well, you did for a while, but the world moved on. Suddenly it was no longer about the coal mines you owned, the patents you controlled. It's what you did with them, how high the quality, how fast the delivery. That was important.
I was taught that a manager's job was to control things, to inspect, to supervise, to take charge, show leadership. Our job was to keep things stable. Now we're supposed to thrive on chaos. We're no longer expected to control the people who work for us. We have to empower them. We're no longer even managers. We're coaches.
What's so wrong with that?
Well, nothing at all. But I've read every guru book at the airport bookshop. I'd love to be respected by a group of innovative, self-motivated graduates, but that isn't the way it works. Every morning I look at the same group of barely literate GCSE fodder who hate what they're doing, who spend what little initiative they possess picking the numbers for their lottery syndicate.
Is that how you see production?
Oh, I know it's very unfashionable to say so, but I just don't have the energy, the charisma, or whatever it takes to transform people into what they're not. I'm not a miracle worker.
Few people are.
So what happens to people like Lee and Jenny? I mean, I've served my time. My achievements are behind me. I've put some money away. But how are they supposed to become the managers of the future? I mean, Lee's not exactly one of the world's born communicators, is he?
He runs a very successful team.
Lee hardly ever meets his team. They live in their own virtual little worlds. Most of them work at night to avoid too much human contact. All Lee does is check their programs and leave enigmatic little messages on email, like cool code. He'd run a mile rather than deal with a room full of real people.
Well, maybe he hasn't had the opportunity.
Maybe. I just look at today's entrepreneurs and business leaders. They act more like pop stars than business people. We oughtn't be sending our children to university or business school. We should be sending them to acting school.
Well, it's a question of balance. See, management should create the right environment so that individuals can thrive, move the business forward.
So long as Mike's around, you can forget about balance. I warn you, he will do anything to be the new MD. It's not the money, it's not his desire to see his ideas work. He wants the power and he wants the prestige, and you are the only thing between him and his goal.
Oh, well, thanks for the warning. I guess everyone has a grenade somewhere in their in tray.
Yes. And it appears the one in mine is called redundancy. You know, I've often wondered lately how I'd feel when it happened. Now that it is happening, I don't feel anything at all. What do they say? End not with a bang, but a whimper.
I'm sorry.
So that's it, is it? I mean, I'm fired.
Yeah. I'm asking you to leave Redware.
Why? No, don't answer that. That's a silly question. When?
Well, not immediately, not today. I'd like a period when your successor can take over.
Nigel?
No, the person in question doesn't know yet.
I see. Yes, fine, I'll do whatever you say. I'll cooperate.
Thank you. I do appreciate that.
Could you just leave me alone for a while? I need to think. I need to phone my wife. Of course.
I hear there might be promotion in the air.
Yeah, and I hear it may be my job.
Ah, yes. Well, I'm glad you both popped in like this, unannounced. Unfortunately,
And I'm expecting an important promotion, as we discussed last night.
Forgive me if I'm intruding here, but I thought I was sales manager for communications. At least that is what my job description has said for the last 6 months.
I really am expecting an important call.
Well, that's not very professional. It could be a client.
You wouldn't know a client if he got into bed with you.
Girls, ladies, can we keep this on a civilized level?
I apologise, Brenda. I was wrong to say that.
Thank you. Apology accepted.
The only kind of client you've worked with are the type that get into bed.
Rebecca, that's enough.
Oh, well, Mike, what do you expect? Last night you fire 3 members of staff and in the same breath promote this.
Watch it.
Look, I know it's all rather sudden. Other members of senior management have been concerned about staff morale. So I promoted Brenda to show people that they still have a future in the company.
And because I deserve it.
And that as well, of course.
So where exactly does that leave me? Or did you just not get round to firing me as well last night?
Rebecca, you are still sales manager communications. I'm creating a new position for Brenda.
You are?
Yes. Client services manager.
And what exactly does a client services manager do?
I manage client services, obviously.
There you are. I'm sure it'll all work out fine. Now, if you ladies would excuse me, I am expecting an important call.
Yes, but what does client services actually mean?
It means I get a new company car. A really new one.
Lee, why don't you take some time out and think about this? I can see it's been a bit of a shock for you.
Shock? Yeah.
I suppose you could call it that. I thought I was doing a really good job here. You can't just ask me to leave. This is my life.
Why don't you pack up for the day? Go home and think about what I said.
All I can say is, I hope you know what you're doing.
Well, I hope so too.
Hi, Lee. Have you heard the news? I've been promoted. I'm now on the same level as Rebecca.
Oh yeah, me too. Though it doesn't feel like it.
But you've been promoted. That's great.
Not really. I've been given Charles's job. I'm going to run production.